welcome to another live stream. I'm in the garden sorting out some stuff. Um, Now there was one of my subscribers, Tom, asked for an update on the pond. So I thought I'd give you a bit of a look what I've been up to. Basically, I've put all the sleepers on, but I can tell you something. It has been an absolute nightmare to try and get them to be like level. Um, the old sleepers had sort of, I don't know, moved somehow during the weather, obviously. Um, and there's a few gaps here and there. And also, the um, the new sleepers that I got were about 1 centimetre taller. You might not think that's a big deal, but when you're in the process of trying to level everything, it is an absolute massive deal. Totally massive. And it meant I had to get the belt sander out and start sanding these sleepers down because they were about a centimetre too thick, too tall. And it caused me nothing but a nightmare. And I was trying to figure out how on earth do I reduce the height of the sleepers. And what I had to do is get a circular saw out, basically measure about 5 millimetre on the blade. I've only got one of those 6-inch small circular blades, you see. So basically I cut the top off in like a crisscross pattern, and I was able to reduce obviously the thickness, but I didn't want to risk reducing the thickness too much. So what I actually had to do was do a lot of sanding it down. So basically these crisscross patterns that I cut into the top of the sleepers, I sanded it down right down to the wood. So I got rid of the pattern. And then it was just a matter of trial and error. Put it on, see if it's level, and if it's not level, sand some more off. And unfortunately, not all sleepers are created equal. So if you go to a yard, you might want to check the height or the thickness of the sleepers, and does it marry up to what you've already got. You may find that your existing sleepers are too small for the ones you bought, even though it's from the same company, the same. They say it's the same size. You may find there's some inconsistencies in sleeper sizes. And I'm not talking about the smaller ones you can buy from like B&Q or Wickes or a supermarket like Morrison's, where you can buy some cheap sleepers, smaller sleepers, but they're not as thick. A normal sleeper should be about 10 centimeters thick and 20 centimeters tall. Um, However, not all sleepers are created equal. So I've had a massive job trying and get these sleepers to fit. And when I look at this pond, I think, is it too big? Have I made it too big? Because it sort of sticks out the size to you, you know. I've obviously digged down deep as well, so I've widened the interior as well, and I'm just sort of wondering if I've made the pond too big. But let's see what you guys think. So without further ado, let's have a look. Let's hope the signal is half decent this time. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a look. This is what I've done. So you could say the pond shape is finished. So there are a few things to note that I'm not too happy about, but maybe we can live with it. So in the corner here, I've got a bit of a gap in between the sleeper here and over here. It's sort of leaning over a little bit here, and we've got a bit of a gap there. But maybe that's something I can live with. Maybe when I put the capping wood on, put the liner in, I probably won't even notice it's there. So yeah, let me just show you the size before it gets too dark. So obviously that's the size of the interior, and then obviously we've extended it to make it quite a bit bigger. So this is what we've achieved so far. I'll go back, you'll be able to see the size. So we've changed it from a rectangle pond to a square one, basically, because I measured the size. It is basically 2 meters and 50 each way, basically. So it's pretty much precisely a square. Um, so it might be a bit easier to work out the water volume for the competition. But that's for you guys to guess and see if you win the prize, whichever, whatever that may be. So this is what we've been up to so far. It's hard work when you've got constantly working and you don't have the time to get things done. So I'm just grabbing the odd hour here and there and just doing what I can. But essentially, the next job is I've got the foam sheets to put on. I've got this pink grip grab adhesive. It's pretty good, this stuff, actually. I used to work for a company that had various grab adhesives, and this pink grip is actually pretty good, and it's not that expensive, so I do highly recommend that. If you don't want to put nails in your wall, use this pink grip. It even comes with a nozzle. The only downside to it is the nozzle is fixed to the cartridge, so once you've started using it, you need to really use it all. But it's pretty inexpensive. It's about, I think I got 2 tubes for about £13, so it's not bad. And they're big tubes, they're not like half tubes that you get from supermarket or you know, B&Q. So that's them. So we've been putting in these 250mm cut screws. Now some people put rebar in. I think if you put lots of these in, it sort of serves the same purpose. So basically I've been putting these in here, and they go all the way through to the second layer sleepers. So they're not cheap. I think I got 25 for about 20 quid. So they're not inexpensive screws, nevertheless they're pretty good. And I've also been using the 150mm ones here to go into the corners. So that's basically the construction of how I've put it together. So as you can, how far have you got? Also, what I've decided to do, as you guys know, I've been debating what to do about with pipe work. So I thought what we could do is put a piece of wood across here on these posts, and then another post that goes up to the top and attaches to the roof. And then I've got these clips. So yeah, I've got these clips for the PVC pipe. I don't know if they're too small, to be honest with you. These are 40mm, but I'm putting it onto 1.5-inch pipe. So they do seem to be a bit on the small side, if I'm honest with you. When I try putting it on, it just about fits, but then you get some sort of plastic, I don't know, whiteness that comes onto these clips. So it's not quite the right size, and I don't think it is. Because if I put that in like that, as you can see, it doesn't seem like it fits properly. So maybe I've got the wrong ones. If you guys know, have I got the wrong type of size of clips for this, let me know. So essentially, yeah, I'm just going to sort out the pipework. I thought it'd be interesting for me to show you this, however. Now, this surge filter comes with a hose tail, which is like this, right? And I thought, instead of having the hose tail with a flexi pipe, I wanted to have solid pipe. So I got this from China. It's a screw-on adapter for 1-inch pipe. So I'm going to take that off. It's a BSP thread on there, if the camera will focus, and it's clear. So I'm going to put clear pipe on so you can actually see the water and anything that's in the water go into the filter box that I've just built. I've released a video today regarding the construction of the filter box. Check it out. But essentially, we're going to put a clear pipe running into it. So I think it'd be really cool. Not only that, you will see the light emanating from the UV, just like you would if you had the clear hose tail on there. And it's only 1-inch pipe, but what we're going to have here is 1.5-inch pipe. So obviously you've got your 1-inch that runs into the surge, but then I'll have another pipe that runs up here, and we'll put something on there like a ball valve, and then maybe a flexi pipe that goes to another filter like that ball filter we've got in the distance there. Hopefully you can see it. So that's the idea. I just need to figure out a way of supporting the PVC pipe, so the weight, doesn't crush or anything like that. Because there's a connection here. I don't want there to be too much weight on this fitting here. So I want to get some sort of wood and clips that will support the pipe and support the weight. So that's essentially what we're doing. We've got a few more comments coming up. Hey, life around the koi pond. Hey up mate, finally caught your live stream. Yeah, hello. I know you've been missing my live streams. Let me know guys in the comments, do you like the live streams? Are they boring or do you find them interesting? I would like to get a few of you guys coming on, like a video live one-to-one with you guys actually coming on. Very, very similar to the the GKP live streams, except maybe I'll be a bit more fairer than that guy is. I'll read your comments out basically. Oliver Skinner says, you can never go too big with a pond. I would dig the middle bit deeper but leave the shelf in for plants. You don't want to be redoing it again after all. The problem I got with depth, and I've actually dug down a little bit deeper than it was before. So instead of 1 meter deep, it's 1.2 meters deep as it stands at the moment. The problem I've got in this ground is it's solid clay, and I get nothing but a ton of groundwater. And believe it or not, below where I've dug there's actually about half a meter of gravel I've put down as a mini soakaway around here to try and soak up water. So believe it or not, after the 1.2 meters, we've got another half a meter further down that is like a soakaway to soak up the water, because I get nothing but of groundwater. It's an absolute pain in the butt. The fact that as soon as I dig below 2 feet, I get nothing but groundwater coming up. So I think after me digging down to 2 feet, and I did actually get down to 3 feet, I sort of gave up and thought, I'm getting too much groundwater coming into the garden and it's a problem. So instead of digging deep and doing an in-ground pond, I was forced to really do a sleeper pond. So that's the main reason why I went for a sleeper pond in the first place, because sometimes you can't dig deeper. And there's a lot of YouTubers out there who've got breeze block ponds, and they've built them really deep. They've gone to like 4, 6, 7 feet deep, and they've realised they've got like ground springs, and they can't go any deeper. And then they start getting massive amounts of water coming into the pond when they're trying to fiberglass. And it's never a good idea to fiberglass when you've got lots of water coming into the pond. So that hydrostatic pressure, you really need a liner. If you're gonna have lots of groundwater in the ground, you have no other option but to use a liner, because the pressure of the water in the liner will push the water in the ground down back into the ground. So unfortunately, if you live in a high clay area, I highly recommend that you just use a liner. Life around the koi pond says, I'm making a sieve filter at the moment. It's coming on well. I think they are great, mate. It's good to see a fish lover creating an underwater world. Um, yeah, underwater worlds are great, you know. Let's hope we can keep the herons away. That's the only thing, isn't it? I recently reached out to a YouTuber. Um, he said after 14 years I had a heron. Well, I never had a heron until that time. So, you know, just because you've never had a heron, don't mean you never will. And how do you know you've never been there? Something goes wrong. Um, Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with YouTube lately. Signal's been quite crap. Um. Oh, you can see my whitefish there. But did you see that? He died. The shabunkin darted around like Superman. I know it's dark and it's hard to see, but I believe my fish in this pond, their whole attitude, their whole persona, their whole behavior has recently significantly changed. And I believe that's down to the heron. So I have a funny feeling that the heron keeps coming back. Um, because it's a pity, because they used to come to the surface and sit when I came to the pond, but now they just hide away, and they spend a lot of the time in the fish cave. Thank God we've got a fish cave protecting them. But I'm going to be honest with you, I suspect the heron's been to this pond a few times and tried to get them. Um, I don't know what you guys think, but I think the behaviour of the fish has changed over the course of, well, when that heron attack happened. So I would say that a heron visiting your pond also modifies the behaviour of your fish and makes them more frightened of anything or anyone approaching the top of the pond. So that's something you need to think about, guys. That if you do have a heron visiting your pond, it's going to affect the behaviour of your fish as well, and might make them less willing to come and, you know, be visible to you, the owner. So, I think obviously a net is very important. I've seen a lot of people, and Oliver did actually mention it. Oliver Skinner, one of my subscribers, and he's obviously put some comments on today um, regarding the size. Is I'm gonna look at doing some sort of PVC frame with a small net, um, but not going over the whole entirety of the pond, because I think it's deep enough. I don't think I need to have a net for the entire pond, because we'll have our big fish cave in there. However, what has concerned me is the possible vulnerability of the shelf. Now, I think it's deep enough to stop a heron actually standing on the actual shelf. However, we can't leave things to chance, can we? So what I'm going to definitely do is put like a PVC frame with a net that goes across on this area here. And then when I'm here, obviously I can just take it off and sit with the fish, you know. But I think that's probably a good idea because a lot of you YouTubers have been making these PVC frame with nets on, and I think it's a good idea. So I'll look at doing that at some point. Or here your pond, it will just fly by, mate, in my opinion. Well, the thing is, life around the koi pond. Sorry, I don't know your name. um, Obviously, I've had a waterfall on my pond for some time, and obviously anything could hear that for quite some distance away. So I've had obviously the old filter box was running for 2 years, you know. So life around the koi, it's Jamie, is it? So it's not the missus. You got a nice missus there, by the way. Um, so yeah, I've had filters run on this pond for 2 years, but I will say one thing that I did notice for a long time is my fish stayed at the bottom where the retro bottom drain was a lot of the time. They barely came up. So how do I know the heron hadn't been here before? This is what I go back to with the behaviour of the fish in the small pond. I've seen a dramatic difference in the behaviour of my fish. Now, obviously, it's got a lot of ammonia in this pond because we've got quite a bit of algae in there. It's what I call pea algae. But I have noticed the two goldfish that are actually left in here. So clearly, I've lost one because there was three. Um, and to be honest with you, I actually had two white ones in here a couple of years ago, and I thought the weather killed those two off. But who's to say that heron didn't take them two as well? And the other three have just been really good at hiding. Unfortunately, it looks like the orange goldfish I had in here that I've had for about 2 years has vanished. So I'm a bit saddened that that's gone. You know. Um, so Oliver Skinner says lots of people have a shower filter on the skimmer line, and they're cheap and easy to build. Would you consider adding one to boost your filtration? I don't think I need to, if I'm honest with you, because we've got we've got the box filter, right? That's going to be there. We've got that surge, which obviously is a filter in itself, and then I've got this bowl that I'm gonna put on. And as you can see, we've got the plants are coming back to life. Because what I did is I put some of this plant food in as a temporary thing until I get some fish. It's called Miracle Grow. I've seen that name before. Premium all-purpose continuous release plant food, and that should give some food to the plants to keep them going for a little while. And I've also got this little box here that I put some plants in. Now a lot of this pea gravel here is full of fish waste that I had from my old fish, my poor fish. So they're actually feeding off that in there. So I think that will sustain the actual plants for a while anyway. And I've also got this large iris that I've just dumped in this box here. So I can reuse that as well. Hi Jamie Gibson, how you doing? So just to update you, Jamie, since you've just come on, I've more or less finished the structure of the sleeper pond. I know it's getting dark now, but that's essentially what I've done. So it's a lot bigger than it was. Now, I estimate that it's going to be an extra at least 500 litres in this area, um, and it's about 90 centimetres wider. I actually measured this, and it's about it's equal. It's actually a square equally. The only thing is that I'm trying to figure out liners really. There are so many different liner companies out there. Like Eco liners, the Evergreen liners. You've got Firestone liners. There's a few new companies out there as well as the old Butel. The Butel ones are very expensive though. And then how thick do you want it? Do you want it 1 millimeter thick? Do you want it 0.75 millimeter thick or 0.8 millimeter thick? Obviously, the less thicker it is, the cheaper it becomes. Um, but also, if it's too thick, like the 1 millimeter thick stuff, it's very hard to bend it into the corners. So if you have liner that's too thick, you sometimes have a problem with trying to mold it into a certain shape. So sometimes the thinner stuff can be better. I know in America they use the 0.45 millimeter thick stuff, which are about a third thinner than the UK stuff. And then obviously we've got to look at doing folds. Now some people have been actually getting liners, and they've been almost like gluing them together in little patches, in little bits. And to me, that is a major concern for any pond maker. I know Danny Coy has done a few of these so-called patchwork liner things, but the thing is, you can patch it up as much as you want and put tons and tons of that, liquid MS300 stuff. But are you going to be sure that you're never going to have a leak? Because I would always be wondering, is there a problem with it? The plants will thrive on fish waste, mate. I really wouldn't bother with plant food. I had loads of plants in my last pond. They grew like no business. We use Firestone. It's 1 millimeter and has never let us down in 8 years. It's strong. Well, funny you say that. This is actually the budget Firestone stuff you can buy that I took out. Zero 0.8. So it's not quite 1 millimeter thick, but it was quite a bit cheaper. But it had more seams in it than you would normally have. Um, it's good stuff, don't get me wrong, but to be honest with you, I don't see a major difference between brands in liners. I think it's all the same really, except with a special name on, essentially. But you can save a bit of money by going for the slightly thinner stuff. And unless you're going to start putting massive rocks on top of your liner that are sharp, I don't think you're going to have anything to be worried about. Um, so yeah, but don't get me wrong. Has any of you guys really thought that the price of liners has shot up recently? Because I think when I put my original liner in, it was a 5 meter by 5 meter liner, and it was about 260 quid, something like that. For the same sort of size, it's about 320 to 350 quid. So the price has gone up. Um, so I've been doing some calculations on this pond, and it looks like I'm going to need a 6 meter by 6 meter liner. And yeah, that's not a cheap liner. I think I've seen prices quoted about £500 for like 1 mil, or the thinner stuff around 400 something quid. So they are very expensive. So I don't know what you guys think on liners. Do you think the price has shot up? So Like I said, what I'm going to end up doing tomorrow is I'm going to get a piece of wood that goes across there and get a piece of wood that goes up there, and then I'll be able to attach the pipework. I may have to get some new clips because I think they might be a bit too small for what I need. They don't quite seem to fit. I paid 600 for mine. Bloody hell, that's a lot of money. As I said before. Yeah, liner can be very expensive. So I'm going to have to cut short the live stream now, unfortunately, because I've got 5% battery left on this phone. Um, did you know, and you can Google it later, rubber liner gets more blanket weed than fiberglass as the spores attach to the rubber and reseed your pond. I didn't actually know that. That's interesting to know. Fiberglass is a very interesting product, but it takes a lot of work and you can't really put it on soil, apparently. That's what some of the experts are saying anyway. This has been debated on GKP's channel before as well, whether you can actually put fiberglass onto soil. Some people have said they have done it onto clay, but won't try and put it onto normal soil. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, guys, because my battery is about to die. But thank you for coming, and maybe I can do some tomorrow when I've got a full battery. But essentially, I'm just going to put some beams across and a beam going up, just to support the weight of the pipework because I don't want it to damage the surge attachment. So I'll see you later. Have a nice day, and I'll see you in another one. Just before I go, there's another comment. Life around the koi pond says it's thick rubber, and I was going to get a window, but decided not to. Don't forget to Google it. I will, mate. Thick rubber, and I was going to get a window, but decided not to. To be honest, that has come up before. People have said, "Why don't you put a window in?" Um, I have thought about it, but the cost is like £300 to £400, and then it's a lot of work, and then if I put it here, it's not a good idea to be here because it's not like in a good viewing area, really. Maybe I could have put it around that side, maybe. But to be honest with you, it's something I could do later. You know, I could essentially put a window in at a later date. That's not a big deal. Anyone could do that later on. But I think for now, I just want to get the pond finished, and then we can look at getting some fish potentially. But even then, fish are not cheap, are they? Anyway, thank you for watching. I've just got to go. My battery's about to die. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you guys coming on, and it's nice to chat to you guys. And remember to have a good night. Thank you.